How's it going, everyone? Rosalind here. So the Tales of series is one that can be polarizing at times, with fans definitely having strong opinions on which games in the franchise they think are the best and the worst. And it just so happens that a poll was published not too long ago asking the Japanese fans what their favorite Tales of series game was. After going through it myself, there were a number of surprises and interesting rankings. And of course, some of them I agreed with and some of them I disagreed with. But I thought it would be fun to share the results of that poll with you guys so that you can compare and contrast what you think are the best games in the Tales of series franchise with what is popular amongst the Japanese audience. Oh, and if you enjoy this kind of content, be sure to leave a like on the video to let me know. And of course, let me know in the comments section how your personal rankings would have differed as well. Finally, one last thing before we dive into the rankings, I do stream over on Twitch at twitch.tv/RosalindGaming, so if you want to discuss the Tales of series franchise, or just talk JRPGs in general, feel free to come hang out. You can find me live most days of the week. Alright, so with that out the way, let's get into it. Coming in at 23rd in the rankings, we have Tales of the World Summoner's Lineage, a Japan-only Game Boy Advance title that released on March 7th, 2003. Unlike most Tales of series games, Tales of the World is actually a tactical RPG in which the characters are moved across a grid and entering turn-based combat once they get close to an enemy. Tales of the World is also the second sequel to Tales of Phantasia, coming out after the next game on this list. Which, speaking of, is Tales of Phantasia Narikiri Dungeon. Released on the Game Boy Color on November 10th, 2000 in Japan, it is the first sequel to Tales of Phantasia, taking place 205 years later. It uses a turn-based version of the linear motion battle system found in pretty much every single Tales of series game, with the player issuing commands via button combinations. However, party members are controlled by the AI. Next up in the 21st spot, we have Tales of the Tempest. Yet another Japan-only release, Tales of the Tempest came out on October 26, 2006 for the Nintendo DS. And while it does use a scaled-down version of the linear motion battle system, characters are able to move between 3 planes of movement instead of just one, and certain commands can be executed via the touchscreen. Tales of the Tempest also featured a day and night cycle which affected many aspects of the game. At 20th, we have Tales of Symphonia Dawn of the New World, and also the first title on this list to be released worldwide. Debuting on the Nintendo Wii in Japan on June 26, 2008, and later that year on November 11th in North America, Dawn of the New World is a sequel to Tales of Symphonia. It uses a battle system that combines aspects of both Tales of the Abyss and Tales of Destiny, with unique features including an element system in which locations, skills, and monsters are all assigned an elemental attribute. Another key feature of this release was the ability to capture and raise monsters to fight alongside your party in battle. Coming in at 19th is Tales of Crestoria, a mobile Tales of series game that released worldwide on July 15, 2020 for iOS and Android. It used a turn-based battle system with characters being able to use regular attacks, arts, and mystic arts. And of course, being a mobile game, it had all of the usual mobile game systems such as gacha for pulling iconic Tales of series characters. Next up is Tales of Hearts R, a PlayStation Vita remake of Tales of Hearts for the Nintendo DS. The original title released in Japan on Nintendo DS on December 18, 2008 with 2 versions, an anime edition featuring animated cutscenes from Production IG, and a CG movie edition with CGI cutscenes by Shirogumi. The PlayStation Vita remake was released on March 7, 2013 in Japan and November 11, 2014 in the West. Like with much of the series, Tales of Hearts R uses the linear motion battle system for its combat, with the Vita remake adding new mechanics not present in the original DS release, such as a 3D battle environment and the ability to use 4 characters in battle instead of just 3. Tales of Xillia takes the 17th spot on the list, releasing on PlayStation 3 on September 8, 2011 in Japan, and worldwide in August of 2013. As with most other Tales of series titles, Xillia uses a modified version of its linear motion battle system, with one of the key features being the ability for characters to link up together and perform unified attacks. Tales of Xillia also features a dual protagonist, in which the player chooses between one of 2 characters to follow through the story. Spot 16 on the list sees yet another Japan-exclusive release in Tales of Innocence R, which released on the PlayStation Vita on January 26, 2012, with the original release being 5 years prior on December 6, 2007 for the Nintendo DS. As with other remakes on this list, Innocence R features many changes and improvements, including better graphical fidelity, reworked dungeons and puzzles, new playable characters, and more. Battles maintain the usual linear motion battle system the series is known for, while also adding touch controls and a fourth playable character. Coming in at 15th on the list, we have Tales of Legendia, which released for the PlayStation 2 in Japan on August 25th, 2005, and half a year later in the West on February 7th, 2006. Legendia's battle system features the usual linear motion battle system seen in most Tales of series games, though owing to the Tekken and Soul Calibur devs working on the title, fighting game elements were more prevalent than ever in this release. A unique feature of Legendia was the inclusion of extra scenarios focusing on the game's characters that take place after the events of the main story. Once again, we have another Japan-only release with Tales of Rebirth, initially releasing on the PlayStation 2 on December 16, 2004, and later on the PlayStation Portable on March 19, 2008. And once again, as with most Tales of series games, the linear motion battle system made a return in Tales of Rebirth. One notable change though with Rebirth came in how characters improved their equipment. Instead of obtaining gold after battles, players would get EP, or enhancement points, which could then be used to improve the armor, weapons, and accessories of their characters. Next up, we have the newest release on the list, Tales of Arise, which released worldwide on September 10th, 2021 for basically all modern platforms except the Nintendo Switch, with a worldwide release being a first for the series. In terms of the battle system, Arise still uses the linear motion battle system, but in its most free form, allowing for full control of character movement on the battlefield. In addition, a new resource called CP was introduced, which was used for both exploring and healing, necessitating a certain level of strategy with how the resource was used by the player. At 12th, we have Tales of Xillia 2, which released on November 1st, 2012 in Japan, and in the West in August of 2014 for the PlayStation 3. Being a sequel to the first Xillia, many of the first game's characters make return appearances. Battles in Xillia 2 use a slightly modified version of the first game's battle system, with the addition of a weapon shift system for the main character, allowing him to swap between different weapon types in battle. Just missing the top 10, we have Tales of Berseria, which released for both the PlayStation 3 and PlayStation 4 in Japan on August 18th, 2016, and for the PlayStation 4 and PC in the West in 2017. Berseria has the distinction of being the only flagship Tales of series game to feature a lone female protagonist, as the series' last female protagonist shared that role in a dual protagonist setup in Tales of Xillia. Tales of Berseria uses a familiar version of the linear motion battle system featured in Vesperia, as well as including the free run setting as a default. Breaking the top 10, we have Tales of Destiny 2, though not to be confused with the Tales of Destiny 2 that the West got, which was actually Tales of Eternia. Tales of Destiny 2 released on the PlayStation 2 in Japan on November 28, 2002, and a year later in the Asia region. A PSP port was then later released in 2005. The game features the trademark linear motion battle system, but also features the Spirit system, which is intended to encourage players to think more about coordinating attacks. It also features an auto zoom in battle, which zooms the camera in and out during combat to give the player a better view of the battlefield. At number 9, we have another mobile Tales of series game in Tales of Luminaria, which began service worldwide in November of 2021. The game features 21 playable characters, all of which are available to the player at launch, with things such as weapons and costumes that are used to increase the power levels of your characters obtained through the game's gacha system. Next up, at number 8, we have Tales of Symphonia. Originally launching on the Nintendo GameCube on August 29, 2003 in Japan and July 13, 2004 in the West, it would go on to be released in the PAL regions on GameCube and re-released again on PlayStation 2, PlayStation 3, and PC. By now, you know the drill. Symphonia uses the linear motion battle system, but it also features the overlimit system, in which characters can enter a heightened state that prevents staggering, reduces damage taken, and shortens spellcasting. Tales of Graces F comes in at number 7 on the list and is a port of the original Wii U version, Tales of Graces. First releasing on December 10, 2009 on the Wii U in Japan, Graces was then ported to the PlayStation 3 as Graces F on December 2, 2010 in Japan, and to the West in 2012. A distinguishing feature of the Grace's F port is the inclusion of a new post-game scenario taking place 6 months after the main story's ending, with the intent being to solve the game's remaining mysteries and tie up loose ends. Coming in at number 6, we have Tales of Destiny, which came out for the PlayStation on December 23, 1997 in Japan, and September 30th, 1998 in the West. Tales of Destiny also received 2 ports for the PlayStation 2 in Japan only, with the second port being a Director's Cut version. This Director's Cut version allowed for save data to be transferred from the original PS2 port, and featured new story events, a new difficulty setting, and it lets you play the game from a different character's perspective. Oh, and of course Destiny uses the linear motion battle system as with other Tales titles. Breaking into the top 5 at number 5 is Tales of Vesperia, which was unique in that it released for the Xbox 360 instead of a Japanese platform. Vesperia released in August of 2008 in both Japan and the US, and then later worldwide in June of 2009. Also in 2009, it would receive an upgraded PlayStation 3 release on September 17th in Japan, with this new version featuring full voice acting, a new playable character, and a previous character becoming a permanent playable party member. This re-released version of the game would later become available in the Western market in 2019 with the release of Tales of Vesperia Definitive Edition. At number 4, we have the 20th anniversary title for the Tales of series, Tales of Vesperia, which released for the PlayStation 3 on January 22, 2015 in Japan, and worldwide later that year in October for both the PlayStation 3 and PlayStation 4. Being the 20th anniversary title, a key development principle for Vesperia was to return to the series' thematic roots as established in Tales of Phantasia. For the most part, the battle system was your typical Tales of series linear motion battle system, but it did feature the ability for 2 party members to fuse together in battle to form a hybrid of the two, increasing character stats and allowing for unique abilities. Coming in at number 3 in the rankings, we have the title that kicked off the entire Tales of series franchise, Tales of Phantasia. Originally releasing for the Super Famicom in Japan on December 15, 1995, Tales of Phantasia would go on to be re-released numerous times for the PlayStation, PlayStation Portable, Game Boy Advance, and for cell phones, with some of those releases featuring full voice acting for story scenes. And being the first game in the series, it's also the birthplace of the series' trademark battle system, the linear motion battle system. Just missing the top spot for the Japanese fans is Tales of Eternia, which released for the PlayStation on November 30th, 2000 in Japan, and a year later on September 10th, 2001 in the West, only retitled as Tales of Destiny 2. It would later go on to receive PSP ports as well worldwide throughout 2005 and 2006. As with the 2 games that came before it, Tales of Eternia features the linear motion battle system, but it was also the first game in the series to have spells that cast in real time, allowing for a smoother battle experience and the ability to dodge enemy spells. And finally, the number 1 rated Tales of series game according to Japanese fans is Tales of the Abyss, releasing for the PlayStation 2 on December 15, 2005 in Japan, and in the West a year later on October 10, 2006. Tales of the Abyss built upon the systems of the titles that came before it, with the only real new elements being the addition of free run and battle and the Field of Phonon system. More so than the gameplay though, what set Tales of the Abyss apart for the Japanese fans was its characters and story. The game was re-released for the Nintendo 3DS throughout 2011 in all territories. Well, there you have it, the top ranked Tales of series games according to Japanese fans. I hope you found these rankings as interesting as I did. Personally though, the biggest surprise for me was how highly ranked Tales of Vesperia was, considering all of the controversy the game had when it first released in Japan. I also thought that both Xillia games would be ranked a bit higher too. But that's it. If you enjoyed this video, please be sure to leave a like and consider subscribing to the channel if you haven't already. And if you have any questions about this video or any game that I cover, feel free to hit me up over on Twitch at twitch.tv/RosalineGaming or my Discord server, both of which are linked in the video description below. Till next time, take care.